And kind of switching gears a little bit, jumping into the implementation side of things, what would you say are the number one things to kind of watch out for in terms of setbacks or services being run, beside the home and or just living space in the yards and having individual kind of privacy? What would be the number one implementation things that you'd say for people to watch out for?
Well, first of all, I always tell people check the parking requirements because parking tends to kill ADU developments more than anything else, or at the very least, it sends it to the Committee of Adjustment for minor variances. So if people are familiar with that, it essentially means you need an additional layer of approval if you're violating the parking requirements. It always ends up being a thing. I think that's one thing. I intentionally situated my ADU so that it faces to the side, and I have a little bit more privacy in the actual backyard. But we also created a bit of a courtyard with like a fire table, and I really wanted it to feel like it was more of a community space, in the sense that I live on my own. And this was actually even during COVID, and the fire table was really useful because we would go and hang out in the backyard, and it was acceptable to do that. And I think it creates like those opportunities for more connection when we tend to be a little bit more isolated. I've also lived in a condo, and I always felt like I live in the box in the sky, and like I don't know my neighbors, and it's so hard to connect with your neighborhood. And so having a good design that has a good outdoor space that allows for both privacy and also flow and connection, I think is really, really important, even when it is a family member that it's intended for. The other thing I think of too, was it was really critical to have higher ceilings and good lighting in a tiny home space. I mean, ADUs can range in size. They can be 300 square feet all the way to, in Windsor, you can build up to 1,000 square feet. So 1,000 is quite large, but regardless, you want to make sure that the space is well lit and it just feels, more free flowing. My tenant who lives there now, he talks about it all the time, that cathedral ceilings and the lighting really makes it feel much more spacious. And so making sure you're optimizing kind of the lighting, and homeowners know their properties best. They know where the sun comes from. They know, where the noise is, all those things. So it's just making those decisions that increase your quality of life.